What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Legion on Zoom. I am the highly caffeinated Chez.
All right, I am not caffeinated enough at all, or if anything, actually, my Ritalin is wearing off. As people out there, I have ADHD. I take Ritalin, and this is Miguel. But now I'm with my beer. Oh, I'm chilling.
Ritalin, you refuse to share with your Legionnaire members, and I'm
Word,
What's
bro.
going on, people? I like how we still have some natural daylight going on over at Miguel's.
Word is like word. It doesn't look natural because it's so nice. It looks like you have like an intern behind the camera with the foil
Word,
thing.
like some professional lighting.
Word.
Well, I'm like the light that's hitting me right now is like not. It's a lamp. It's like I move things around. So for you listening to us on Spotify, you can check us out on YouTube right now. Hit subscribe to that YouTube button, and you'll see Chez in green and me in this like. Because there's beautiful light behind me. You can see the green space outdoor, beautiful, the Bronx right there, and then a light flashing in my face. We're fucking around with lighting on.
And I'm on location. I've decided to leave Earth, and I am on Oa. I'll tell you guys when I come back. Other than that, let's get into some shit. We're starting this show with a fucking deep cut. Well, it's actually some breaking news. It's pretty new, but it's based on a deep cut. So it's kind of like a scar. There's going to be a Smallville animated show in the works, which is fucking mind-blowing. I thought they were going to just like never get back to that. I've even heard rumors of like that back in the day that Tom Welling was like done with Smallville, like done. And supposedly he's behind the project as well. Like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, no, and I'm like, oh, damn, is he done? Because like we saw him come back for that epic Arrowverse crossover, the Crisis on Infinite Earth. So we saw him back. But yeah, so because it's Tom Welling himself who announced it, that apparently it's him and Michael Rosenbaum, who I think was the Luthor, right?
Yeah, like, shit, really? Yeah. Lex Luthor?
Yeah, that they're developing the animated Smallville sequel. So that'll be fucking dope.
What? Wait, so it's a continuation to the show?
Apparently.
That's cool. Crazy. And also a even deeper cut, for those of you who don't know, Michael Rosenbaum also has done the voice of the Flash on some instances. I don't know when.
Nice. You beat me to it.
Yeah.
In Flash fashion.
Yeah, but I mean, you could take the alley-oop and say where he's done it, because there's been so many different iterations of the Justice League that I don't know where. So
right. No, but also there's a comic book that continued the Smallville lore. I don't know if they're going to use any of that stuff, because it was canon, like for people that I guess couldn't let go and the series was over. DC produced a comic book, much like they're doing with a lot of things right now, like with Batman the Animated Series.
Facts.
Batman 1989, which I'm stoked about, because I saw some art recently, and it had like Billy D. Williams,
nice.
Harvey Dent, right? So we get to see him transform, you know.
Right, and the cover art, which we'll have it right up here right now, right? It's like we see, I think it's him as Harvey Dent, but also kind of like getting into Two-Face, right, or something like that. Was it?
Yeah.
It would look fucking dope. We're looking forward to that.
Who draws that? Because for some reason in my head, a Batman 89 book should be done by Alex Ross.
Oof,
I'll check it out. Let me see.
And I'm gonna say a fucking highbrow ass comment right now. My brow's about to touch the back of my neck. Jeez. I think Alex Ross is like the, what's his name? Something Rockwell of comics.
You lost the highbrow.
Damn it!
It kind of went from the back.
Fuck.
Kind of lower. Yeah, but it is something Rockwell, like one of those
Norman Rockwell. Yeah, there you go. Oh, okay, fine. I went medium brow. Fair enough. But yeah, for some reason, like I see the aesthetic of that movie done by the hands of Alex Ross, who is almost too epic, in my opinion, to be considered a comic artist. It's always kind of bugged me, like, yo, you went too far. Like, you don't do comic art, you do comic portraits. Like, stop it.
All right, so just to mention, the creative team is Rob Vendetti and Wilfrido Torres.
Nice.
Who did Batman 66 as well.
Wait, there's also a sequel of that?
Yep.
Yeah.
I could do without that.
Bro, Batman fans can't get enough. Like, continue everything. Every Batman timeline should just keep going on forever, because apparently people are going to keep buying it. And we did see some photos, too, of Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne this week too.
Actually, that's perfect, right? That brings us to one of our next news points, right? That we saw fucking, and it's awesome because it's just Michael Keaton himself, like in a suit, walking in front of a courthouse or something. And that's enough for me to lose my shit, man. Because it's like, it's not just Michael Keaton. We know he is Bruce Wayne right there, right now, talking to fucking Barry Allen. And they also show us Nora West as well there. And the big thing too was that we got shots of Supergirl in her suit and some funny shots of her getting like pulled up in a way. So it's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Dude, like, imagine how he must feel. I don't think, maybe I want to say 10 years ago, in his wildest of dreams, like, you could have offered him $100 million and he never would have even guessed with 100 guesses that he'd be playing Bruce Wayne or Batman ever again in modern times.
Thought, man.
That's what I'm saying. That's, and like, imagine it from his perspective. That's crazy.
Imagine in 1989, let's say we could travel back in time right when they're filming the film, or probably 88, right? Because that's probably when their filming came out in 89. And we would go up to Michael Keaton and be, bro, in 2021, you are still going to be the character you're portraying right fucking now, man. He'd be like, get the fuck out of my face.
And you survived the global pandemic. He's gonna be like, what? And you'd be even confused and you disappear. Blow his mind.
You just tell him like you survive a pandemic and you're still Batman, and then you leave. He'll carry that forever.
Nah, but then he would respond. He's like, that's why he survived the pandemic, because he's like, because I'm Batman. And then I'm fucking blown away. And then that's it.
Dude, I cannot wait. I am so hoping that fucking these people at WB and DC do all the right things. Just be like Marvel, do the right things. And I don't mean to like make things happy or bright. Just on principle, be like Marvel and do the right thing. Do with that what you will, you jerks. but
I mean, okay, in their defense, they released the Snyder cut. So they're right now in our favor, right?
Yeah,
and I have faith that they're gonna continue releasing. I mean, good shit. Like I'm hopeful too. I think this is a tough film to mess up. I think that it's gonna have a lot of elements from the Snyderverse, as you can tell by Supergirl's outfit.
Yeah, word.
So like,
which is amazing. That suit looks so sick.
If the director can just kind of like stay true to that vision of the Snyder cut, even just enough to give new fans and old fans a good movie, because I mean, come on, man, you're getting Ben Affleck in this, you're getting Michael Keaton in this. This is insane.
Yeah, word. It's bananas. Like it's the one movie, like might be top 3 movies we never thought we'd get. We're getting a live action Flashpoint movie. I'm gonna say that again. We're getting a live action Flashpoint movie. That's fucking bananas.
And not wait.
Yeah, word. And also, I gotta say it again. That Supergirl suit is fire. It's fucking lit. It is one of the best suits I think I've seen superhero wise. It's on point.
God damn, that's high praise.
It's valid. It's valid.
Speaking of suits, though, right? We got, finally, we got images of the Shazam family all wearing their new fucking costumes, their new suits. What did you guys think? Obviously, we're not comparing it to Supergirls yet. We're pretty impressed with it, but like the new Shazam one, because we've all talked about this before in prior episodes. We had thoughts on the original suit. You guys mostly, I think.
Yeah, word. Like it was cute. Yeah, it was cute. Like it was a valid attempt. Like, oh shit, look, it's a Captain Marvel suit in real life. But then it's like giving credit to Rod, is kind of like they're kind of like embracing the Snyder vision of a Captain Marvel theme. You know what I mean? Like it's a bit leaner, it's a bit darker. You know what I'm saying? Like it's more like, I don't know, it's more high tech. It's more of a Snyder take on like the aesthetic of Marvel, at least from my side.
And just to respond to Miguel, like the Shazam costume was top 3 worst superhero costumes. I want to say it's, you got, what do you got up there? Steel. No offense to Shaquille O'Neal, you're a legend.
Damn, you're putting Steel up there?
Nah. We got to do contemporary. Steel's like some from forgotten time. No,
yeah, also that's
true.
That's
1989. That suit still holds up. I don't care if you can't move his name.
Good point.
Okay, Lila. Okay, then you know what? Then I'll say that suit, if you think about it, that suit is kind of whack.
Which was 89?
Yeah.
How dare you?
All right, the show's over. Schism just now. We're done.
You see, like if you want to get into the nitty gritty, then like Steel Suit wasn't the worst because Miguel has a point.
Oh, no, it wasn't
more
the
of a question.
worst.
It's more of a
Shazam
question
was
of like
worse.
era. What about Blank Man?
But that's meant to be campy. He's not even Meteor Man. There you go.
Facts. Throwback, deep cut. No, by the way, I wanted to mention, doing another favor here. The Snyder Cut is going to the next level and is going to Blu-ray,
yes,
and DVD.
Oh,
which
copying.
Yeah, which we didn't even.
Lord.
Oh shit, you didn't know that?
No.
Yo,
it's broke news to drop.
That's crazy. That should have been my Friday night. I have really low standards, but yeah, like it's going on fucking 4K Ultra HD DVD, LCD, LED. I don't know what else, but yeah, like all that shit. Yeah, that's fucking nuts. Yeah, OD. But yeah, like it's actually happening, which means that Snyder's gonna get his due and then some. I think he might be getting money off on that part. I think.
Like, on what part? On the suit, like that they're using.
No.
On the Blu-ray, you mean? All right.
Yeah. The fact that the Snyder Cut is getting released, I think on that he'll probably be making some money. Yeah, word. And on some totally unrelated fucking news, on a deep cut again, it's apparently a very deep cutty episode. The next installment of fucking Transformers is gonna be Beast Wars.
Yes.
Did they say officially it was Beast Wars? I think
no, it is. The movie is called Transformers Rise of the Beasts, and it's going to have the classics that we watched as when we were kids. But obviously it's going to be set like not in the same, because in Beast Wars, the animated fucking show from back in the day, it was set in like prehistoric times, no? And so this is going to be, it's a sequel to the Bumblebee movie, which is movie 18 out of the franchise. I don't remember.
It's some shit like that. I've yet to see it. I've heard absolutely nothing but good things about it though. And I mean, plus fucking John Cena's in it. But I really gotta check that shit out, especially if you know, like the fucking Beast Wars movie is gonna be a sequel for this.
Yeah, bro. And I thought you love the Transformers movies. You for anything we ask, like for you to make a movie, you always say Michael Bay will be directing it.
Because I do love the Transformers movies. For some reason, I just never caught the Bumblebee one because I don't think that's like it's a big Transformers movie. I think it's a Bumblebee movie.
Right.
That's why like I was never beasting to see it, but it's on my list of things to watch.
Plus, I don't pun. Yo, but after the first one, I was done with it. Like I watched the first Transformers movie. Yeah, visually it was fantastic, but I didn't feel invested in the characters at all. I mean, they brought the OG Optimus Prime voice guy. That was amazing, but otherwise,
nah, same here. I never really got into the Transformers movies. Like I tried. I think I watched maybe 2. But to me, I don't even aesthetically, the robots looked like the Transformers looked too not Transformery. I don't know. I really wasn't a big fan of it, but I did see Bumblebee and I loved it. I thought it was a great film. It was really entertaining and it really scratched that, late 80s, early 90s itch when we were watching the cartoons. And because Bumblebee looks kind of like Bumblebee fucking from the cartoon. So I don't know. So I was excited about it and it's fun.
Oh, yeah. Facts. Like it does look fun, and that is why it's on my list. And I'm not against it. I will eventually watch it. But I've actually seen all of the actual like straight canon Bay Transformers movies. And you're right, like it's almost too chaotic to get vested in any of the characters. But if you get vested in 2 or 3 of the Transformers, it's like themselves. If you closely and slowly follow the storyline of Optimus and what's his name? Megatron, it's a pretty interesting saga. It plays on a big scale. It's a massive endeavor. But aside from them two and maybe like Bumblebee himself, like it's too chaotic. It's too big of an attempt. But visually, I love them though. Fuck yeah.
And another reason to get you all into it, to watch Bumblebee so then you can watch the new movie, is that apparently they have cast for the new sequel Anthony Ramos, who is the lead in the Heights movie, which we got into it a little bit last time in our last episode.
That movie was great. Go see it if you haven't already.
Yo, dude, when you put that at first in our chat, I thought it was the me being Dominican. I thought it was the bachata artist, but that's Anthony Santos. I'm like, oh shit! Like
He's a lot older too, isn't he? Like, damn.
Yeah, like he's in Transformers as the lead.
Damn.
Which would also
Like,
be awesome.
facts. It'd definitely be interesting. It'd be a massive come up. But yo, so that dude, so the In the Heights guy went from being John Lawrence on Hamilton, being Usnavi in the movie, to now being the role on Transformers. I love to call this out. We see you, guy with barely any name. Your bank account is exploding. I like to call it out. That shit, you're making so much money right now that you're getting confused about reality.
Damn.
That's the same thing. Like, dude, think about it. Think about how much money he literally just got the lead in a fucking Transformers movie coming up In the Heights. His bank account, like his wallet just got heavy out of nowhere type shit.
For sure.
But he's a good actor. I can't wait. Like, I like the guy. He's cool. I mean, he's a Puerto Rican playing a Dominican. I kind of resent that, but you know.
But we'll let it slide because he was pretty fucking good, and he's gonna be in Transformers,
Well,
right?
what was he in Hamilton though? Like Caucasian or some shit?
John
or white Anglo-Saxon.
No,
Obviously they're all like obviously they're fake. People,
I
right?
think John Lawrence was white, but he did want to assemble like the first old black battalion or some shit like that. But so I'm not sure.
I mean, probably. That's what I'm saying. Like, he could play whatever he wants. He's that amazing.
Yeah, you know, he dude, he can sing, which is the bugged out part. Like in the musical, like on Hamilton, that dude has pipes. I'm like, it's props to him, man.
And so
give him all the money.
And that's the real question, though, right? For this Transformers sequel, is he going to sing or not? Because I think, lean on his strengths, people. Like, throw in a few like musical numbers. I'd be fine with it.
And bring in Anthony Santos for it, right? Make it legendary.
We just fucking turn Transformers Beast Wars into a Hispanic musical. Listen, man, I'm totally with it. Fucking. So I just heard about some crazy shit that happened in comics, and I'm not much of a Marvel guy, let alone a Spider-Verse guy. And Spider-Man's own universe within, like the Marvel proper gets pretty deep and it gets pretty confusing. So they apparently brought Ben Reilly back in the comics. What?
Yeah, and that's been a big news in the comic book, really what we've been talking about, news and TV and animated shows. But now for comic book news, this is the big one that's going to happen. I think it's going to be in September that they announced that Ben Reilly, you might remember we talked about Ben Reilly a few times before, Chris Pine would be a good Ben Reilly. We said that he's the clone from the Clone Saga who, like, back in the 90s, big ordeal, he was supposed to be, he's the real Spider-Man, Peter Parker's a clone. But then, no, it wasn't. And then Ben Reilly died and Peter Parker stayed as Spider-Man. But then eventually Ben Reilly came back, though. He did come back. He was actually the Jackal for a really awesome story of the clone conspiracy. And then he was the Scarlet Spider for a while on his own, a solo series. But apparently now they've been saying that now he's actually going to take the mantle of Spider-Man proper. Not Spider-Man like Miles Morales is Spider-Man 2, right? But it's like, obviously he looks different. He's younger. It's like, it's not a big deal. He's in Brooklyn too. But now he's going to be the Spider-Man again, because Nick Spencer, who's been writing Spider-Man for the last couple of years, is ending his run. And it's apparently going to end with that. And as you all know, I'm the resident Spidey fan. I am not with this one bit. I'm not looking.
Come on, you gotta shake up the status quo, man.
No. Wait, I have
the fans guessing.
Yeah, word. I have a question. So for the fans out there who are as clueless as I am, obvious first thing: where the fuck is Peter Parker?
So that's the main reason why I'm not happy, because like Ben Reilly, I'm cool with Ben Reilly. I like Ben Reilly, especially when he's been involved in the Spider-Verse stories and the clone conspiracy story. It's cool stuff. But apparently with the promotional-ish images of Ben Reilly back as Spider-Man, there's a few images of Peter Parker bloodied, his mask fucked up, and with MJ kissing him. So I'm like, if this motherfucker kills Peter Parker, I am going to riot. Nick Spencer, he's an okay writer, but he wrote Captain America. He did the famous Hell Hydra Captain America Secret Empire story, which It was stupid. I didn't like it, and I've been trying to get into his Spider-Man run, and I cannot fucking read it. And I'm like, and I'm a big Spider-Man fan. I don't like it. I'm just not liking it. And if it ends with him killing him, nah, I'm not gonna be okay with this.
Listen, man, I'm gonna go with the obvious shit real quick again. Nick Spencer do our show. I want to hear you talk to Miguel.
Yeah, I want to hear you defend your storyline.
And apparently, Spencer seems like the kind of guy who's like, "Fuck what people think. This is what I'm gonna do."
For real.
Word.
Yeah,
For controversy,
yeah.
spike sales. I see you, Nick Spencer.
Yeah, facts. So he seems like the type of person that he's on that social media profit shit. The engagement doesn't matter if it's bad or good as long as it's there.
The one thing I will give Nick Spencer credit is that apparently he's been trying to kind of, so there was this big storyline a few years back called Brand New Day, which was, people hated it, right? Because it happened that basically the love story between Mary Jane and Peter Parker, they were married for years, was dissolved because of Mephisto. Like,
I loved that story.
Like WandaVision. But people hated that it ended that long story, and now it was back to, it was like a reboot in a way, but without rebooting the rest of the universe. And that people forgot that they were ever together because Mephisto took their love. Well, it was a cool story. I like the story because they did it to save Aunt May's life. Because it was related during the Civil War, the first Civil War by Mark Miller event, which was dope. Because Peter Parker revealed his identity and shit, and it was a hot mess. And so they had to kind of put the genie back in the bottle. So they did all that. And so Nick Spencer's apparently trying to bring Mary Jane and Peter Parker back for them to remember what they lost. And I'm for that. Like, that's dope. Unless it means that they killed my boy Peter. I don't want that.
Yo, dude, while you were ranting, I was doing some pondering, and I keep coming back and I keep coming back to that thing that we just discussed. Is like, all right, so the MCU is huge, right? Like, you know, making tons of fucking money. But we've also discussed here that paper books, and I think Rod brought up that point that the paper book industry is still suffering OD. You know what I mean? Like, people are just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's some leak into people going to read more comic books because of all the saturation of, you know, like TV and movies we're getting. But that type of shit, once again, it screams like, we're going to do it just to stir the pot. It doesn't matter if the recipe's bad or good. We're just going to stir it.
Yeah, I guess I'm for that, as long as people are out there buying comic books, right? And so the other cool thing about this is that they're gonna take a page from the Brand New Day. Originally, when it originally happened, I think it was at the end of, I could be wrong. Was it Michael Straczynski's run, or I don't remember who it was? And then they got basically a bunch of different writers. There was no one main writer in Spider-Man around that same time. They were all just kind of writing the same story and helping each other out. And so that's what's going to happen next. And after Nick Spencer, we're going to have Seb Wells, who's been writing an awesome fucking Hellions, which I love. Kelly Thompson, who's also written, I think, Captain Marvel, who that's been praised very highly. Saladin Ahmed, who's been writing the Miles Morales book, which I loved. Cody Sigler, who I don't know, and Patrick Gleason, who we loved from. He's written and illustrated the Batman and Robin books and a Superman book as well. And he's been doing Spider-Man now with Nick Spencer, and all right, so like the art's dope. It's like, okay, so we'll see.
When it comes to doing stuff like that too, I've wondered, like, so he does that, right? Of course, I think we learned this from Dan Mora with the approval of the studio and shit like that. You know what I mean? As we learned from our Dan Mora app, like, you can't just go off and just kill Peter Parker and just plug in Ben Reilly and just, like, they don't have that much freedom. So that was obviously approved. But then it's like, all right, he does this, ends off on a big note. Then what? The person that comes in just has to deal with Ben Reilly and the dead Peter Parker?
I don't know.
Wait, so you think that Ben Reilly's gonna kill Peter Parker?
No. That, like, all right, so he killed Peter, right? Like, the writer killed off Peter Parker.
Oh.
Like, as per the image that McGill painted with words. And then you have Ben Reilly as Spider-Man now. So the writer that's coming in is signing up to just write Ben Reilly as Spider-Man. You get what I mean? It's like, it's not a bit considerate for the person that's
until
coming
he later
in.
reverts to Peter Parker, right? Because like when Doc Ock killed Peter, right? And then he took over his body, and we had the Superior Spider-Man run, which really worked. But you know, I mean, they have their ways of doing these like soft resets just to mix it up. I mean, I haven't read since Dan Slott, so you know a lot more about the current storylines, but I haven't
Yeah.
really been interested in any recent Spider-Man story.
And you're not missing out, bro. Dan Slott was the last best one. I love Dan Slott. And as you said, except but the difference with that, because Dan Slott, like, quote unquote, killed Spider-Man, right? Because we had Doc Ock take over his body. But that was himself. That was his long story. And then after like a year or so, then obviously Peter Parker came back, right? But it was part of the story that he was telling. Nick Spencer's gonna be all like, all right, peace out. It's on you guys. You guys clean up this mess. I'm sure the editors do shit, right? Like they're involved in making sure that letting the new group know what's going to happen and if they want to sign up for it. I don't know.
For the record, soft resets make my penis soft.
All right, but speaking of resets that are not necessarily very soft and that they're getting pretty exciting, is that because now, like, fucking, I'm getting excited to read Shang-Chi. We're getting new Shang-Chi books, and we got finally the official trailer for Shang-Chi, because we've gotten a teaser, which was one hell of a teaser. But now we got the fucking trailer, guys. What's good, people? I think we need to see it, right?
Listen, man, there's only one way to make it happen. Should I press the button?
Ooh.
Let's zoom.
All right, fans, we'll be right back. Fuck. Shit, we're back. I got fucking goosebumps. I am in. Holy shit. Dude, I legit got goosebumps off of that fucking trailer. I think that this shit is gonna ignite a whole unreasonable like wave of fad into martial arts.
Hell yeah! I want to do martial arts right now. I'm about to Google, where do I learn? What can we do?
And Joe Rogan's gonna be pissed because, as per him, the only valid martial arts is Brazilian jiu-jitsu. There's gonna be like an uprising in all martial arts across the board. There's gonna be fucking kumites underground. I'm in. Plus, a quick side note. I've always wanted to see like the 10 rings in action. We've always heard, like what's his name? The Mandarin is after the 10 rings. We've heard the name of Shang-Chi, and also once again the Legend of the 10 Rings. But I've never seen the 10 rings work. And I mean, mind you, from the Iron Man cartoon, they used to be like jeweled rings, but now they're more like bracelets, bangles, as per like the Final Fantasy jargon, or like whatever the fuck you call that shit. But it's nice to see them working. And holy shit.
Yeah, that was the one thing that, exactly, for the fans out there, the 10 rings is what the Mandarin was, a classic villain of Iron Man. For those of you out there, you probably might not, if you know Iron Man only from the films, you're like, what? Is that his main villain? Yes, in the comic books, that was the main villain for a long time, the Mandarin.
And the cartoon.
Bro, Marvel's gonna get canceled. Like, what the hell? Come on, the Mandarin. It's not woke. Come on, Marvel, get your shit together.
I don't know. I think it's a fine name as long as they do it tastefully, because like we have mafias like the Yakuza and stuff like that, that's not necessarily racist. So I think the Mandarin might be.
His name should be
the Oriental.
The more I say,
his name should be the Eastern Asian. That would be the appropriate alternative to the Mandarin. I think. I don't know.
Yes, I don't know. We gotta get somebody involved here because I don't know. Like, because is Mandarin offensive? I don't know. Like, because that's the language they speak in China. One of the main ones.
There's like a weird Asian villain era in comic books, and I think he's like a leftover from that. I feel
Exactly. But anyway, racism aside, the Mandarin had actual 10 rings, like 10 rings, like legit jewels that gave him powers and shit like that. But now, as we saw in the trailer, the rings are really like bracelets that are very powerful and shit. And so what did you guys think of seeing that in action?
I mean, that looked cool. But what really stuck out to me was the underwater scene, because automatically I'm thinking about Namor, however you say it.
Oh.
And we get another huge cameo at the end from the Abomination. So I think that was, just bringing it back to the MCU, because the trailer could be any kung fu mystical movie, but with those two cameos, it makes it a bit more MCU-esque, which with that continuity.
Right, we got Marvel. Abomination and Wong fighting in a fucking pit what is going on here? Why and what happened? I gotta rewatch
Well,
that.
that was versus Wong. I didn't even
That
peep
was
that.
Yeah,
Wong.
yeah,
Oh
that was
shit! I gotta go
Wong.
back and watch it. That's dope.
Yeah,
Yo, because he
bro.
did one of those like circle things and
Oh,
shit. Like,
dope.
oh, dope.
Yeah, so it's like how to so much in that little snippet, which the brilliant mind of Feige, they did that shit on purpose. Just throw that in there, like, hey, look, Wong, like, boom, he's fighting Abomination. Anyway, like, wait, what? Like,
They
where
out
has
Mortal Kombat just with that, right?
yeah?
This is the movie
yes.
that we deserve after having endured Mortal Kombat.
Ooh, word! Because after this, we get to compare fights, which of course this is gonna
Oh
win.
man,
This
Bro.
trailer
can't
beat
not be
that
better.
movie. The fighting in this trailer beat the fighting in that movie. Like
Right.
straight up. And I don't know what it is about this movie, the production quality of it. Yes, it's an MCU movie, but I feel like it's on like the bleeding edge of quality. Like the punches felt real. Like fuck. Like there was something about the movie itself. And I'm all for an alternative to Anglo-Saxon mythologies at this point. Like fuck. Like bring on the Wakandas, bring on the Kung Luns, bring on wherever Shang-Chi is from, which I'm convinced is also Kung Lun.
And that's the part that excites me, right? Because like I said, earlier, right, before we got into it, that I really kind of want to read the books now. No, like even before when they announced they were making the movies, they came out with some new Shang-Chi books, and I was like, it looks kind of cool. Maybe I'll get into it. But after this trailer, I'm like, oh, okay. I kind of want to read one fucking book for real, one of the new ones, and to check it out, man. And what you're saying too, I'm excited about what's the universe that's going to open up from this, like the type of sequels to these movies, the spin-offs to these movies. Like it's going to be an awesome new world of within the MCU to fucking explore.
And I think from what I've heard on the intrawebs, Abomination, I mean, it really wouldn't make a big difference, but I think he's being played by the same dude. But he would just be doing what? Maybe some voice and some mocap. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, would it matter? Like, unless they show him being transformed back. Which, by the way, to this day, one of the coolest scenes on Earth is the scene in what's his name? Tim Norton.
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton, yeah. Jim Norton's the comedian. Edward Norton's Edward Norton's the Hulk.
The original Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
Well, the original in the MCU.
Yeah. But technically,
let's not forget Eric Bana.
Yeah, Eric Bana, which was unreasonably handsome for a Bruce Banner character.
Yeah, word.
That to the OG.
Oh man, I'm gonna ruin
Bill
it.
Bixby.
Yeah, there you go. Boom.
Nice. I don't even know how I got that shit.
Yeah, I know, dude. Shit, that was like that.
Which by the way, good thing, quick side note, guys, if you go on YouTube, I mean, you should do it just to watch us and just watch all our shit. But aside from that, I think it was IGN that I've showed it to the guys before. There was an MCU in the 70s. Quick side note, and it had to do with like the Hulk met Thor. Fucking, there was a Matt Murdock who there was crossovers on 70s television. It totally sucks and it hurts the eyeballs to see. But the documentary is pretty lit. It's about 30 minutes long or something like that. It's called the MCU That Time Forgot. Shout out to whoever made that shit. It's fucking amazing. But yeah,
exactly. See, listeners, viewers out there right now, this is why you listen to us talk about the trailer reactions, because you learn about these awesome gems, like these fucking forgotten MCU. I'm glad that there's no forgotten like Shang-Chi version, because I'm sure that would have been a very problematic one if it was done back in the day. Like, no.
Shit, dude. I mean, actually, it's even darker than you think. It was so racist that it didn't even ever get made. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like there was no question, like, no, we're not gonna do that.
All right.
Like that's even fucking worse. But yeah, this shit is, dude, pre-rating 8.5.
Oh, all right. Pre-rating 8.5. I'm gonna pre-rate it. I'm gonna give it an 8. Pre-rate an 8, I think.
Damn.
Rod, what's good?
Damn, I don't know. I gotta see more. I'm sorry.
Man. Nah. You've seen a teaser, you've seen a trailer, you gotta pre-rate. It's a pre-rate.
Like, what do you think it's gonna be? So that we could come back and listen to see what we get.
Damn. 8. 8. I'm gonna go with the 8. I was gonna go like 7.75, but that's like weird.
I would have called you racist. I would have called you racist if you did.
Me too. I was ready. Anything below 8. You're racist.
Not as the Abomination cameo, and I didn't even know it was Wong. So no, that definitely bumped it up to 8 for sure. That's worth 0.250 for the fans out there.
And
yeah, because that's obviously that's the cool thing about this, right? Because the trailer itself, I'm interested, right? Like even if I forgot it was the MCU, like it looks fun, it looks action packed, like it looks like an action film that I haven't seen in a minute. No, like we used to have all these old school action films, you know, like a Jackie Chan type action films that we don't really get that much, or like the Jason Statham action films. It gave me kind of that vibe. But then when you remember, wait, it's set along the same, you know, world as all these dope epic ones. I kind of want to watch now the first Hulk movie to remember like what happened at the end. Abomination's just defeated, but he doesn't die, right? Like that's the deal, right?
Bro, that fight to this day, that fight holds up. Long ass time ago, we got the Hulk versus Abomination. They were throwing cards, like fuck, dude. Like yo, I'm laughing because I'm actually just bringing that fight back up in my head from that movie. We actually got Hulk versus Abomination, no holds barred.
In the first Hulk movie, man. Shit.
Yeah, I'm not trying to hate on them though, but I did prefer Joss Whedon's Hulk. And you know, Edward Norton.
Me too.
Like Mark Ruffalo, like he's been crushing it for years. So we could forget. It's the most The Incredible Hulk is the most attached MCU movie, I feel like. And like I don't know. I wasn't crazy about it, but hopefully, you know, the Abomination was cool. Yes. So I'm looking forward to seeing him in this. And who knows, maybe some more cameos. Because when he's underwater, tell me you didn't start thinking about Namor a little bit.
OD,
or no?
Dude. OD. And
I don't know. I just saw the dragon, right? There's a dragon there, and I'm like, I don't know what's good with that. You know, technically, actually, if I remember correctly, all right, this is another throwback. This is why you listen to our fucking reactions. We saw that in Falcon and Winter Soldier, they go to Madripoor, right? You know, for the first time, which is famous in the X-Men universe and all that kind of stuff. Apparently, and this came out in Avengers World, which was co-written by Jonathan Hickman, who had Shang-Chi in the Avengers. Madripoor apparently sits like on top of a dragon. And so the island's like a dragon or some shit like that. So now I'm wondering, I saw that shit. Like, what if it all connects to Madripoor and
total possibility. Total possibility. And the one thing I'm wondering is speculating wildly. And I have a feeling that just because their sheer amount of power, I'm calling it now, he's not going to end up with the 10 rings. It's going to be one of those situations where like he wears them to defeat the last bad guy in the movie, and then he puts him away because he's the responsible hero.
Spoiler alert, dude.
Yeah. Preemptive spoilers, dude. We're fucking ahead of our time, yo. It's new shit. It's spoilers that we don't even know about. Quantum spoilers.
And speaking of quantum spoilers, last week we're gonna jump into our review of Loki Lamentis, episode 3. And I think you nailed it. So if you go back to our review of episode 2, and these are on YouTube, go check them out. And I mean, if you're listening to the podcast, you're listening to us now. But if you want to check us out in the video, definitely follow us on YouTube. But yeah, the Enchantress theory that Miguel dropped last week, I feel like it was pretty much confirmed in this episode.
Right?
Dude, I feel like they shoved the word enchantment down our throats. Like enchant.
Right, like Loki's all like, you know, so I do magic and you enchant, right? Yeah, so I'm enchanting him, I'm enchanting her. Like, I'll try to enchant you right now. So, like, what's your name again? Okay, Enchantress. All right, cool. Sure.
It's like you're mad as Guardian, Shakespearean, well-spoken old English ass didn't have a thesaurus for the word enchantment. Then, like, so we know that's Enchantress. Right. like word.
Right. So for the fans out there, because we're talking about like right now, obviously you should stop. You know, if you've seen the episodes, go watch our last review, because you saw us go into that and our theory of the Sylvie Lady Loki as Enchantress. Obviously, at the end of that episode, they both disappeared through the time portal thing, right? And this episode kicks off immediately from there. They land at the TVA headquarters, and like fucking Enchantress, that's what I'm calling her. I'm not calling her Sylvie. Enchantress is on a mission to fucking kill the time what are timekeepers, right? Is that their name?
Yeah, the timekeepers.
Yeah, and then Loki's in there, and so that's the first big ass scene that we get some good action. What did you guys think of that start?
Well, I mean, I personally enjoyed the very beginning of the episode. I just, for some reason though, like this episode as a whole, for me so far, this is the wackest episode. I'm gonna lead with that. Out of the 3 so far, this is the weakest one. But I do want to give props to the Enchantress. Gonna follow Miguel's lead here. Because she outplayed Loki, because this dude divulged himself onto her whilst completely sober for the most part. And it was weird. It was like, why did you not feel resistance to give all that information? Because it was like a fellow Loki, or like
Exactly.
But what are you talking about? What do you mean?
He spoke so much about himself throughout the course of the episode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just get that to the point that even when he said it,
Yes.
even she admitted, like, yeah, thanks for the tactical advantage. Like, the fuck? Like I
right.
Shit.
He said
like,
something like, right, like, you know so much about me and I don't know anything about you. And she's like, right, thanks for the tactical advantage, motherfucker. Like, shit.
Yeah, like that's it. It was odd. It was odd to kind of see him so easily vulnerable.
Okay, I'm gonna go with my tinfoil hat theory of the night.
Go for it.
All right. So in this episode, all right, I agree with Chaz. It is the weakest of the 3, but still an entertaining episode. I really liked it. And again, it's like a general Marvel lore. If you're a Marvel geek, you love when they travel to these obscure locales, so you could just like Easter egg out. So I think that she's in love with Loki. That Sylvie is in love with Loki, and she's like an emissary of the actual time variant Loki. Like, and she's, trying to fulfill this mission for him because she loves him. And the reason why I say this is because, like, as he's drinking and then he gets up and starts singing, she's looking at him in a certain way. I might be reading too much into the scene, or it's really good acting. That leads me to believe that they have a history. Loki's not aware of it, but she is.
Oh, I like that.
So,
that's interesting.
Damn.
And then, okay, one more thing.
Yeah.
And also, she mentions how she uses a person's like a fond memory of the past. That could be their first date, right? Okay, so that's and the tinfoil hat.
Dude, that's pretty big, man. Because like, as I caught on to that too when she was watching him sing by the bar that he was shit-faced. I was like, wait, what's happening here? Is he winning her over? It's like they're playing at something. But damn, the fact that you said that she might be a herald. So this Loki might be a herald for another Loki to try and betray this, like, well, the main Loki. Fuck.
Well, I don't think she's a Loki. I think she is like Sylvie the Enchantress.
And that's working for Loki.
Maybe she's trying to get to this. I mean, again, trying to get to the timekeepers because she's trying to free Loki, or her Loki died. Something epic.
Yeah, right. That's the thing that I liked about this episode. That we still don't really know enough about Sylvie the Enchantress, right? About her intentions, her motivations, everything about that, right? Because, like, as we mentioned, right, they were at the TVA. Loki tries to get in the way, and then they end up escaping and accidentally landing in this planet, which is the name of the episode, right? Like the Lamentis, which is like a planet or a moon that's going to crash into a planet, or vice versa. And which is then it's a fun episode of them trying to escape this apocalypse, right? And that's where, right, we're seeing Loki basically vent to her about everything, who he is, and then but we get some info. I love your comment. I do think Sylvie the Enchantress has something more there, like some kind of connection to Loki that Loki doesn't have with her, right? But I don't know what it may be. Like, now that you mentioned that she might have been in love with Loki, I'm thinking even like, is she like Loki's maybe brother in another timeline or something? Because they did talk about some shared past that's not like really shared, right? About like he got to know his mother, like the adopted mother. She didn't, but she knew she was adopted. He didn't. So it's like it's weird because
Yeah, that was bugged out.
she is Loki, but like not. But it's like the Enchantress. It's like I'm thinking Marvel just grabbed two characters and like put them together. But I still don't know. We still really don't know. And I agree with Ches. This for me, this episode, well, with all you guys, right? That this episode was the weakest one.
Word. And there's one thing that I want to address, all comic book shit aside. So even on the moon of Lamentis, right? As a subplot during an apocalypse, the elite and the wealthy are still fucking over the poor people. What the fuck, bro? It's like in every iteration of humanity, that's the thing that we do. Sorry to digress, but that shit occurred to me when I was watching the episode. Like, yo, so even here in Lamentis, the rich people are like, no, we're taking this train with room to spare, and fuck all of you poor people, you're gonna die horrible deaths. And on top of that, everyone is fucked anyway. So even in the face of everyone being fucked, the elite and the rich still want to fuck us over.
Even more so, I'd say. Like,
yeah,
in the apocalypse.
Yo, that shit occurred to me that, like, not coming down on the writers or some shit like that, but that's almost like we understand that in ourselves, that's how we are, and yet we don't change it. It's just it's
a fucking universal constant, man.
That's
like
crazy.
Thanos.
Yo,
Inevitable.
But okay, so one thing I did like about this episode, much more character development going on here, is that we got a lot, like we got Sylvie's fighting prowess, and she's like superior to Loki. Like like we got like she's like Black Widow level almost. She was like running off walls. I thought all that choreography was really
it was very
dope.
similarly. I thought the same. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So we did get that. You do get some good fight scenes in this episode. Along with the plot thickening between those two characters. And they're trying to escape they're trying to escape Lamentis, right? Which sounds fucking cool. Very dope name.
Yeah.
And then that one escape route explodes at the end, and that's how the episode just kind of stops.
Right. Yeah, and so for me, I think that's one of the issues why I didn't like the episode, right? Because like early on, it's said like, oh no, they're stranded on this planet that's gonna explode and it's an apocalypse and they're gonna die. I'm like, no, they're not. Like, so for me, the whole episode is like the whole tension of like, oh, how are they gonna get? I'm like, I'm not worried one bit. Like they're going to get out. If anything, I would have liked the episode ending with them dying. Then that would have been like, what the fuck are you gonna do next, right? But other than that, for me, that's why the only problem was like, yes, okay, it was entertaining. There's a lot of cool action scenes. The acting's great. Tom's fun to watch. Sylvie's a great actress as well. I love seeing them interact. It's fun. But yeah, like story-wise, is like, also because it annoyed me because we still don't know enough about Enchantress. We did get the biggest gem that actually connects to the story. The biggest one yet is that actually goes to, I think, what Rod was mentioning last episode, that the TVA people are not created by the timekeepers, that
was the bomb,
plucked from time, and they just don't remember. Apparently that they're variants themselves and they don't remember their past. Like that was huge.
That was insane. That was because you could tell as soon as Loki realized that, he's like, that's how I'm going to destroy the TVA. I'm going to tell them what's happening to them, and that's going to disperse everything. Like you saw that in his face. And also, for some reason, I think that Kang has something to do with it. I think maybe he's like a people hunter or like their top person.
Bro, that statue behind that, I forget this character's name.
Renslayer.
Right.
Yeah. That's so cool.
I mean, that statue behind her is basically Kang, right?
Yo, exactly. No, because they had the 3 timekeepers behind them, right? And then honestly, I've seen some great stuff out there on the interwebs. You'll see it here on YouTube for with us, that they've been showing the face of the timekeeper. Especially there was that one animation that Loki got as a training, right? That honestly, one of the timekeepers looks pretty much like Jonathan Majors, who's playing Kang in the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie. And I'm assuming he's playing Kang in this fucking series, which we'll see soon. Because come on, especially it's time. It's fucking people, variants, plot. Like it has to be Kang.
Dude, I think we should collectively ride this rail car till the wheels fall off.
Oh, actually, another one. Another thing I just fucking found out that I didn't know. All right, not even tinfoil hat. This is legit fucking canon comic book shit. So the main judge, right? I guess she's a judge, right?
Yeah.
The Renslayer. She is her name is Ravonna Renslayer, who in the comic books apparently was like the first or the most important love of Kang the Conqueror.
Gee, dude, like, I'm telling you, man, let's just stay on this. Let's write this one in as hard as we did Mephisto into the ground. Like, because I think
this one he gets his twice, man. Shame on us.
Nah, man. Facts. Fuck it, yeah, shame on us. But wait. Oh, quick side note, because I didn't want to forget this. It was like, this is the first thing that popped in my head. I don't know why, but it's like it was nice to see Loki embracing his Asgardian culture. Like, I never would have thought he was that about that life. You know what I mean? I thought he just resented that whole Viking, Bacchanalian, fucking drunken revelry shit. Like, I thought, like, he would just, like, fuck these barbarians, like, just highbrow magic and mischief and yada, yada, yada. Like, oh, shit, look. It's pretty interesting. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's a good point, right? Because I guess he's Asgardian by adoption, right? Because he's really
Ice giant.
Frost giant. Yeah, Frost giant. So that's
just mad misleading, right? You hear Frost giant, you think of some other shit.
Which I don't know if you guys might have an answer to this. I finally get to ask this question somewhere. I've never really asked this out loud because I've always thought it was a stupid question, but fuck it. So he's a Frost giant by birth, right? The son of what's his name? Larfey's son.
Yeah.
Okay, so why does he look so human? Is it like in Lucifer where he has like a different face? Like, does he have like an ice giant motif? Did being in an Asgard give him like human skin? Like, I don't.
He has a frost giant skin that he can just load and.
Yeah, no. I mean, because for those of you on Netflix who've seen the show Lucifer, you know what I mean. He can switch between like his burnt angel devil face and human. Does Loki keep on Asgardian veil up as like, is that embedded in his subconscious? And underneath is really him as a frost giant, which would mean like blue or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, I've always thought about that.
I think we should look into this. I think there is an explanation out there.
Michael J. Straczynski and Olivia Coipel, they have I'm blanking on the actual like plot, but they wrote, it's a Lady Loki comic book, so it's her origin. But in telling Lady Loki's origin, Michael J. Straczynski also goes through the whole Loki history lore. I mean, it escapes me right now, but I know it's deep, and they explain the whole like why he looks that way.
Damn, I'm gonna look into that shit.
Yeah, I'll post that right here.
Yes. Dude, I've always wondered about that shit, because like, all right, like, how, like, you're adopted, but why do you look Asgardian? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It's so weird.
But yeah, one more point though, the whole thing that they're actual people, possibly, like Mobius. Now I want to know his story. He has to have some epic story, right? Because he's an integral character, and it's the first episode that we don't see him too, right?
Or it might be that it's the total opposite of epic, and it might be that he loves jet ski so much because he was a jet ski instructor, and the TVA takes insignificant people in the timeline as if we took you, nothing would change.
That's good. Yeah.
Like, that's why you're in the TVA, because you're insignificant.
Oh, damn.
Yo, but that makes me wonder the
social commentary right there. Going back on what we said before, more mind bombs from Marvel.
Yeah. Fuck, you're so insignificant. It doesn't matter, man. No, but it makes me wonder too, like, also because like it begs the question: how did they become variants? Right? Is it obviously it's not their doing, right? It's not like Loki grabbing the fucking cosmic cube and the Tesseract and then just like fucking up because the Avengers were fucking up with time. So, or is it like that? Like, are they collateral damage to maybe? Because we right there, the Avengers went back in time to grab the fucking, gems, stones, right? It's Infinity Stones in the MCU and gems in the comic books. I think, they became stones in the comic books too, but whatever. And we do know Captain America went back in time to fucking return them. Like, did that lead to like these random little offshoots, and that's why I don't know. There's like random variants out there, you know that.
Yeah, and also in episode 2, one of the time agents says some asshole probably got his hands on a time machine or some shit. So there are other means of traveling through time. Hashtag
Right,
Kang.
Facts.
Yes,
Facts.
exactly.
Aside from like the cosmic
Yeah.
cube.
There's probably, remember, like in all, like if you zoom out enough in like in all the universes, there are these like exotic tech brokers and shit like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like those seedy characters that probably have access to some TVA tech that someone left behind or some shit.
Right.
But yeah, that's my tinfoil hat. You become a TVA agent when they calculate how insignificant you actually are to the timeline.
I like that idea. That's deep.
I want to put
I'm
that shit on
actually-
record.
Yo, more
Some
tinfoil
Fight
hat.
Club shit.
Yes. Yo, tinfoil hat even further. I'm actually even thinking, what if there's not even a sacred timeline? What if that's all just bullshit that
Damn.
Kang came up with or something, or the timekeepers came up with? Like, that's why they're stealing these insignificant people. And then to fucking make the timeline that they want for their purposes, or I don't know, or something like that. Because like now it's like I don't trust nothing, right? Shit.
I think at this point you're wearing a tinfoil bodysuit. Like
Yes.
you have,
and I look
gloves, shoes.
great in it. I'm fabulous in it.
Like you're fucking oozing insanity. But yeah, like, but overall, I think like you guys said, it was an entertaining episode. It had its ups. It didn't really have downs. It was mostly kind of like meh. But this episode for me was a 7.
Okay, and by the way, this review is also brought to you by the drink of the motherfucking week.
That's
the
fucking
motherfucking
right.
week.
There's nothing best to end the week talking with my boys about comic books and fucking Loki. For the Loki review, we got 2 special drinks. We got Loki. We got the Bronx Brewery No Resolutions IPA. All right. So this is great. You know, also connecting to In the Heights, everything we've been talking about, although In the Heights is not in the Bronx, but you get what we're talking about. You know, and on top of that, we got some Basil Hayden's whiskey as well. Not the dark rye that we had before. This is just a regular one. Good whiskey, good beer. Highly recommend both. Bronx, what's up? Bronx Brewery. Hit us up, man. We love you. We would love to do a
to the
show.
Bronx.
Yeah, we would love to do a
Facts.
show at the Bronx Brewery.
That'd be lit.
Fucking like for the Loki finale, Bronx Brewery. Let's be in touch. What's up? What's good?
And just, you know, a little R&D idea. If you guys want to create a little non-alcoholic brew, you know what I'm saying? Those things are
Yeah, you
hot
can
right
pay
now.
us in beer.
Facts.
That's a valid currency.
Very
Indeed.
valid.
Actually, at one point, it was a valid currency in history. So you're not totally off.
Yeah, and speaking of non-alcoholic beers, I have a Heineken Zero right there.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
Facts. Oh, and you just reminded me about something, Miguel, that I've been meaning to bring up for a while. So if I'm not mistaken, guys, please check it out in the game and let me know if I'm wrong. If you look at Spider-Man, they completely cut the heights out of Manhattan.
Oh yeah. In the game, yeah.
Yeah,
completely cut out the heights.
I think it was
Like-
valid. I think it was a valid cutoff point. The game can only be so large. God damn it. They barely go into Harlem. Like,
Right.
I think
But
that
they-
might even been cut too.
But they go into Harlem.
No, but especially in Marvel
Harlem is
Spider-Man
more
in
valid.
the Miles Morales one, Harlem is a big piece of it, and so Harlem is a little
Exactly.
bit more
Luke Cage,
laid
baby.
out. Well, exactly.
Wait. Well, so you know what? Like, I'm glad you brought that up because what we just discovered was the total lack of representation for that part of Manhattan in
Yo,
Marvel.
We need a hero.
Yeah,
Facts.
hell yeah.
Facts.
We
Look
need
at that
Basil
shit.
Hayden's.
Look at what we just fucking stumbled on, yo. Like in all of fucking comicdom in Marvel, which is supposed to be, and I quote, I don't know who I'm quoting, the world outside your window. There's no superhero in the heights. Everyone turns back maybe at like 145th Street.
And what's funny with Marvel Spider-Man, both the Peter Parker Miles Morales game, is that when you go up on Harlem, besides up to the upper Manhattan, it starts to look a little bit like the Heights. Like they started to have some kind of buildings, and I think they have a park that's either similar to Riverside Park but also similar to like kind of like the cloisters of the Inwood Hill Park and Inwood Hill Park. So it's like a little mix. It's like they tried, but yo, bro, come on. I would have loved. I immediately tried to swing to check out our apartments and that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
nope.
yeah.
Fancy
Miles
shit.
is opening the Marvel Universe to the Latino side. So,
Claro.
if there's any superhero, it's going to have to be Miles.
Hell yeah.
Damn, but to cover Brooklyn and the Heights, listen, man.
Yo, but
we need
fuck Brooklyn. Come on. No.
Yeah, Brooklyn gotta have somebody. Probably like that the hipster Iron Fist version.
More, damn, wait, but isn't Iron Fist enough of a hipster already?
Yeah,
Like like that's part of his motif.
yeah,
Damn, man.
Or like a cool dude, like in that the Ultimate Spider-Man animated series. I like that iteration too, where he's just like a chill,
word, yeah,
stoner
I like
kinda
that one.
dude.
I like that one. That was cool. I
Yo,
enjoyed
but
that Iron Fist.
before we wrap up, before we forget, I just gotta make sure. So because Chaz, you gave it. What was your review
7.
for 7? I am
Good call.
giving Loki Lamentis a 7-2. Rod, I don't think we got yours yet.
Let me think. Damn. I didn't think we'd review this one. We didn't review last week's. We didn't give it a number score, but this
Oh, we
one,
didn't?
I don't think so. But this one, I'll give it 7.5.
And to leave off on a pun, I lament the quality of the third episode.
You're a jerk.
And on that note, people, go check us out on YouTube, Instagram, wherever the fuck you get your podcast. Friends, lovers, countrymen. This is Chez.
This is Miguel.
This is Rod. Peace out.
Peace.